Shabbat Shalom. I greet you in the name of the Most High. My name is Brother Yadan. The topic for today is very special to me and it's personal. Some will see this and will appreciate it. Some will avoid this because it's very contagious. Family, the values of family, the impact of family, a person in a family, people in a family. I have many aunts and many uncles. They were all very supportive of me in my life and my upcoming, raised by my grandparents and the offsprings. There's a special man in my life that will always be an impact because I carry the torch that he left behind that was impressive because he cared about no one knowing about the things that he had done for others. He kept those things to himself, but I think it's notable that he should be given the accolades that he deserved. A lot don't know about this man, his character, his heart, his being human. My dear Uncle John, I called it. Before Uncle John married my aunt, I got to know him before his children, see him, how he cared for so many, the impact that he left in our community. One of the first and everything was done to the school board, to the impact of everything in the churches. My dear Uncle John. Uncle John started off as a mathematician. He excelled to a title that's beyond my even could give him a validation for through computer science, scientists, and all the things that he was, and the many universities that he succeeded at and at the highest level of his classes. A very humble man. A man that I lived in his home for many years when he traveled to these many universities, and I stayed with my aunt. And I got to feel the family, what family was, knowing what love was. My Uncle John. My Uncle John was a man that he had such a personality that you had to love him. I recollect a time that the Sonny Liston and Cassius Clay fight back in about in the May of '65, I believe it was. Uncle John, it was the second fight. The first fight went about 6 rounds, and I think I remember Cassius didn't come out of the corner. I mean, no, it was Liston didn't come out of the corner, and Cassius was the one that said, I shook up the world. And the rematch in '65, Liston was still the favorite. What Liston did was this. He boasted what he's going to do to Muhammad to get his title back. Muhammad said that float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. I'm going to talk more junk than any other D. Now, check this out. Uncle John came down and he ran in the house because he liked to eat. Skinny man, but he liked to eat. He came in, he said, turn the radio on. Because we didn't get it on the TV, we got it on the radio. So Uncle John said, I'm going to get a sandwich, get something to drink. Well, we said, it's coming on, Uncle John, it's coming on. Oh, I got time. So it's funny with my brother Ricky and my little cousin Charles. We were together and waiting for the fight, and we told Uncle John the fight was on. He was still trying to get himself something to eat out of the refrigerator. So when he went in, he got something, and he was fixing something to drink and taking his time. We was talking, it's going. He said, I'm coming. All of a sudden, Muhammad Ali come up with that, they call him Cassius Clay at that time, with that invisible punch that was the mystery punch, that Liston went down, rolling, tripling down. With Uncle John, he's down. What? He ran in, he dropped everything, and he said, no. And they said, the fight is over. Liston got up, and then he went down again, and the fight was over with. Uncle John was so upset, and we teased him about that for many years. things I've seen this man do, the importance of his work and the role that he played in our community. All of the people my age and a little younger, they admired him because he always had a positive message for us. He always had something that we were children that really didn't have fathers in our life, the impact that other children have, and the ones that did, he made an impact to them also. We were blessed to have Uncle John. Uncle John was a man that if you just saw him, you would say he's just an everyday man. But that's the way he saw himself. Uncle John. Uncle John worked at a place on Dahlgren, NASA Space Surveillance in Dahlgren, Virginia, the county of King George. It was a building at that time, back in the 60s, that was called the 1200, the biggest building, the most prestigious building of knowledge in a building that anyone would know that was there on that entire Navy base. Grandma had sent us down there to see Uncle John, my brother and I. And we went to the building 1200, and we went in, and we asked the lady if we want to see Mr. Smith. And she said, go to the door there, and he'll see you. So we went to the door, we looked in, and there were a bunch of men sitting there in suits, maybe up to about 20, 25, at this big round table. We saw no Uncle John because the entire table was no people of color. And we said, if we don't see him, she said, go inside, you'll see him. So we went inside, and there was dear Uncle John standing there, the teacher, with a pointer, with golf shorts and an alligator shirt, and everybody else was ragged out, looking good. Uncle John was so cool, laid back, and just chill. Uncle John was something else. I'll tell you that right now. As I stipulated, this man was a special man. I talked with his children. I tried to, some of them, to get approval before I made this video because I wanted to let people know that this man will never be forgotten. Whatever I do in my life, he will definitely be a memorial to the work that I've done, working with the people that he showed me how to be the man that I am. He showed me what family really was. He showed me, and I even said at one time in my younger days that whenever I got married, before I got married, I want to have a family like my Uncle John. Uncle John was so special. He showed us how to catch a football. He showed us how to play basketball. He did all those things, and the little things that kids that didn't have someone to sit there, talk to them, and nurture them, that's what Uncle John brought to the table. Thank you, his children, his 3 children, that are descendants of him, the offsprings that I pray continue the work that he has left behind. This man is personal to me because the things that I saw him do were impressive, remarkable, and just of character. One day, out in my grandmother's yard, next door, my grandmother had a house for rent. And there were people that would move in and out there at the house. And Uncle John would sit around, he'd look, but he would never say something. He would always say these words: if you don't have anything good to say about anyone, don't say anything. Out in the yard, everybody talking, people that came over to visit my grandmother, and they were talking about the people that moved next door where my grandmother's home, they were renting. And they said, do these people come over here borrowing things all the time? Do the kids come here asking for things all the time? And nobody really said anything because we really felt that it wasn't their business. But Uncle John was sitting there at the time. Uncle John would just come up at time. You look, he'd come, he'd be gone. All of a sudden, Uncle John got up, and he got in his car. He went, as he would do often. I would say he was sitting there maybe about close to an hour later. Here come Uncle John, comes down the road. You had to go down, and didn't come back. And we had 2 driveways, and he would always come in the first driveway. But he went in the second driveway where the house that my grandmother was renting. And he went there, knocked on the door, and the people that were in the house, he asked to come out, and he got the children, they all came out, and all of a sudden he opened up the back of his truck inside, and oh my gosh, you should have seen the things that this man had worked for this family. Remarkable. I mean, come on, Uncle John. He said nothing. He helped the kids load it out, put it in the house. He got in his car. He didn't come back over to the house, my grandmother. He got in the car, and he just drove off. This was the type of man he was. A type of man that told me, the only man, that he loved me. When I was kicked out of school, He was on the school board. He fought to get me back in school. He did all those things twice. And he told me once that you get another opportunity. He was the one that has made me decide to go in the military because of the path I was on. I thank him for all of that. A lot of people don't have someone or people that have made impact in their life. I have a lot of other uncles too that made great impacts in my life. I love them dearly for what they've done. Uncle John was a different type of man, not better than them by any means. So don't get thinking that I'm putting him over anyone or thinking that I think more highly of him than I think of you. No, it's just the impact that he made for me personally is what I'm saying. And I just want to thank him, and I want this to be something that his children, grandchildren will see in the future, because if YouTube is still alive and know there's no such thing as hate, the tribute to my Uncle John is forever and ever. Uncle John was a man that was not complex, as I've stipulated and said many times, but he was a man that had so much love and compassion. When I was in the streets and I got messed up out in the streets and everything there, going the wrong direction in my early days, of my 20s, out there thinking that I knew more about life than anyone else and thought that I could make my way by doing the things the way I wanted. And I was left for dead out in the street. They left me, cracked my head open, put a plate in my head, broke every rib on the left side of me. I was paralyzed. I was in a coma, knocked off half of my lip and everything there, my teeth. All of those things happened to me. I was really at a state that gave me 40-60 chance to make it. But my understanding from what Uncle John had told everyone, even though me being in the street doing some things that were not right of character, I understand this is what he told them all before they came to see me in the hospital. He gathered the family together and told them these words: if you're going up there to criticize and talk about what he did or what he shouldn't have done, then don't go. When he spoke, he's not E.F. Hutton. He was bigger than E.F. Hutton. When Uncle John spoke, everyone listened because he demanded that respect, that type of respect this man had, and was deserving to be returned. And it was such a tribute to know this man, and for his young age of 49, the impact he made on me that I'll be 65 in less than a month. And I thank God for him always being there in my heart. As a matter of fact, when I went through seizures and strokes, they told me a time that I still thought he was alive. I don't remember those things because, like I said, there was some part of amnesia and seizure and stroke and all these things that I had over these periods of time, and I couldn't let him go. And there's still at times that I still have this passion that I feel him still with me, and the impact that he made on me is still dwelling in me because I just love him so much. And I think I told one of his children this, that I had the privilege of knowing him, one of my youngest first cousins, I call him nephew. I think he was 11 years old when Uncle John passed, or 12, and I told him, no offense, I knew him better than you because I saw the man. I walked with the man. I believed the man. I learned from the man. I became a man. There was a time, Uncle John was funny too. Aunt Joe used to get mad at him when the Soul Train used to come on back in the early days because he'd be sitting on the couch when the girls had them hot pants on. Uncle John was so sound and rounded, well-rounded. He would make Aunt Joe so upset by jumping, jump. He'd be jumping around on the couch. And when he watched sports or anything, he would jump on one side of the couch to the other side. He would tear up a house in a minute when he was watching sports. And was D.C. down, came out of Georgia, Macon, Georgia, but he was D.C. down everything that sports in D.C. he supported, and his children are the same way. I love them kids. You know something? He was funny too. When we had our first home in Dale City, Virginia, my aunt came up to visit for the weekend, and he said these words to her after being there. He said, "Hey, babe, Joe, you see Ken and Kathy's house?" He was saying some things like, for intelligent and the most knowledge man. And now I compare him to President Obama with the knowledge that he had. Um, the guy was just such a human. He was just earthly. He was just such a spirit. He was a saint. Was he perfect? No, he wasn't perfect, but he was perfectly for the times that we lived in. And he was perfectly for my family because he brought that stability to the family that we needed. He brought something that would be a legacy to a lot of us that remember him, the young people like me, that he made time for us to talk to us, to see what was on our mind, to ask us questions. This may seem something that is not of interest to you, this video, this recording, this talk that I'm talking about. It's not necessarily about the Hebrew Israelites. It's not about what's going on in current events. But it's a tribute to a special man. A special man. I know this man. I love this man. I was with this man. I knew the heart of this man. I knew the strength. I knew when he meant something, he validated it. Therefore, take heed to all that have had someone in their life that made an impact as Uncle John made in my life. Reminisce on the people in your life. Be thankful for what they brought to your life, for where they put you in your life, what you remember about them in your life. Always keep our past in the future, because we cannot make further steps without the past leading us. The tribute to you, my dear Uncle John. Thank you. Thank you for creating a world for me personally that I see how your words and your work have made me a better man, because you showed so much love and impact to the next generation that it became contagious, and the next generation is the future, and train up a child in the way they should go, and when they're old, they won't depart from it. And they said, if one of you mislead one of those little ones that believeth on me, it's best you tie a millstone or a cinder block around your neck and drop yourself into the depth of the ocean, to sea, wherever they be. And Uncle John, again, you heard me say it enough, Uncle John. And then the title of this will be Uncle John. Uncle John, this one's for you. Uncle John, May the 10th, 1991, coming up on 30 years. And there's not a day that I have not had you on my mind, in my heart, wanting to live in your accordance. Thank you, Uncle John. There's so many stories I could tell about Uncle John, Charles, Ricky, Junior Jerry, Plummer, Really Red, all of us, Tony. So many stories, Larry, Pastor Robinson, so many stories that we could tell you about the great Uncle John and the way that he impacted our lives, and just his presence made us feel comfortable, confident, and in control. In your name, Father, and your Son, which is Yeshua the HaMashiach, all praise and honor goes to you. And I'd like to say to the entire world, never forget your past, the impact of your past. Shabbat Shalom.